I was American born, and I'll die in America.
Welcome to our group. Welcome to Defender 7. Defender 7 has so much knowledge, and this ought to show it right here.
Do you or someone you know suffer from depression? If so, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Defender 7 Monday night show with your host, our Colonel, Kimberly PURVIS, and myself as co-hosts and General of the Defender 7, Bobby Ormsby. Welcome. Before we get on with our show, I need to read our disclaimer. For those of you that are new just tuning in, the views and opinions expressed on Defender 7 radio show and Facebook page are those of the callers and or authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Defenders 7. For those of you that are new just tuning in, we also have a website. If you'll type in all lowercase letters, www.defenders, Roman numeral V as in Victor, with 2 small i's.com. Now on our website, you'll find that we have a store and a donate button. 100% of all proceeds from sales from our store and any donations we bring in go back to our communities throughout all 50 states in a time of need. So please, by all means, purchase something or hit that donate button. Every little bit helps. That's the only way that we can provide the services that we here at the Defender 7 are offering. So please help us to help you and your community. We can also be reached on our national Facebook page by typing in the search box, all capital letters, Defenders 7. That's Defenders, Roman numeral V as in Victor, with 2 large I's. Now before you hit that join button, just know we expect all of our members and future members and everything we do here throughout the whole group. We're not just a Facebook group. We consider ourselves one big extended family. Now, if you get in and you feel it's not for you, you can always leave. No hard feelings. We're also on MeWe. If you click organizations, scroll down to Defenders 7, Humanitarian American Patriot Group. Also on YouTube. Go on YouTube and please click that subscribe button. Now for tonight's show and all the shows we do here on Blog Talk Radio, we enjoy it when you call in with your thoughts, your input, your opinions, or just to say hello. And that number to call, area code 914-205-5773. Again, that number to call to participate, area code 914-205-5773. I'm now going to turn the microphone over to your host, our Colonel, Kimberly PURVIS. And we also have Maria Delamine with us tonight.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, you?
I'm doing great. I got the medicine for my ear today, so I'm going to start using that. I had my sister look at my ear, and it didn't have some of those fungi things like in the pictures, but it looked bad.
How you doing, Bobby?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. Thank you.
Well,
Lorna here?
Slacker? Which slacker?
She hasn't signed on yet.
Okay. Excuse me. Before we get started, I don't know if anyone's heard. I know it's all over the news. Well, I guess. In D.C., now, if anybody knows anything about this, please let us know. Supposedly, the D.C. police are doing military exercises between the White House and the Capitol building. They've got Black Hawks. They have emergency vehicles, I guess SWAT vehicles. You name it, they've got it. And they said it's only training. They don't do training.
I heard that too. That's some scary shit.
Well, here's the thing. Depending on what article you read, I have read some that says that Biden is politicizing the military and convincing some of the military to turn on the American people. And they're going to use the Black Hawks to apparently shoot down any Trump supporter that comes into D.C. And that's from the D.C. police.
That's a pretty large portion of the population, even if they are lying about it.
No, I know. But here's the thing. It's only for ones that go to D.C. They're still claiming it was 500 Trump supporters. There was not 500 people in the freaking Capitol building to begin with, okay? And a lot of it was extreme right-wing nut jobs, and Antifa already said they were there. But they don't want to admit all that shit. So they're just continuing, but this is just it. I don't believe a damn word that comes out of the D.C. police mouth. I don't. When have you ever heard the government tell the truth about anything?
Never. So do you think I'm going to believe what the D.C. police say, who answers to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer? Hell no. Mm-mm.
So I heard from somebody else that the air traffic from D.C. to Gitmo is unreal. There's been a couple commercial flights going into Gitmo, and some military flights, obviously. So something's happening. We just don't know what it is. So, but it would be advisable. Just don't go to D.C. right now. No matter who you are, unless you're a liberal, and wear a Trump hat.
I want to go there and wear my Trump hat and my Trump shirt.
No, yeah, but I'm saying have liberals go there. Maybe they might just shoot them all down and give us do the job for us. But here's the thing: if you're in the military right now and you buy into Biden's bullshit, you're a disgrace, and you need to lose that uniform. And you're just a disgrace to the uniform, straight up. Because your job is not to the president. It is your oath that you took was to the Constitution.
That's
straight
right.
up.
And
not
the people.
a president. Yeah, and the people. And if you think for 1 minute that just because you want to be a turncoat and a traitor, that we won't shoot any military? I know I will. If you turn on American people for no reason, no valid reason, right, I know I will not hesitate to shoot your happy ass down. But you have to give me a reason. Like, you know, just going willy-nilly, just starting to shoot people, that's like bullshit. So, and I'm not talking about rioters, you know, them, yeah, go ahead. By means, go ahead. But I know something's going on. So, but I thought we'd go over the history of militias in the United States, because I know a lot of people have a question about some militias. You got your straight and narrow militias, you know what I'm saying, the ones that do what they do. I think you got some of these retards who go to the extremes, like the NFAC. As we all saw, was it last year? And was it Kentucky? Bobby.
Yeah.
Was it the NFAC in Kentucky last year where one guy shot 3 of his own people?
Yeah, it was
not fucking around,
and Georgia.
Yeah, and now that's a militia, even though it's not your typical militia like the 3%ers militia. Was it was it Indiana Lightfoot militia? I think it's Indiana. I can't remember. But there's different types of militia groups, and like I said, some train for all types of catastrophic disaster, military, whatever. So there's different types of militias. So this is early American militias and the forgotten history of freedmen militias from 1776 until the Civil War. And the United States militia is enshrined in the Second Amendment of the Constitution. And while the militia movement of today is widely known, its history and the history of independent constitutional militias stretching back to the dawn of the Republic is far less known. And why does it matter today? Because understanding the historical roots of America's militias will help modern-day members appreciate the role they play in our federal system of government. Because since inception, militias have been tasked with stopping those who hold public office from exceeding their authority or seeking to enact legislation outside of their operating charter. A crucial check against incremental encroachment by the state, as James Madison wrote in the Federalist Papers on January 29, 1978. Besides the advantage of being armed, which the Americans possess over the people of almost every other nation, the existence of subordinate government to which the people are attached and by which the militia officers are appointed forms a barrier against the enterprises of ambition more insurmountable than any which a simple government of any form can admit. The militia is the final means of recourse in this cycle of self-government, and arguably the most important. Thus, this is the first in a 2-part historical series on America's militias. And the second part is American militias after the Civil War, from when Black Codes to the Black Panthers and beyond. Like I said, it's not just each state has their own militia. There's that kind. And then like the Black Panthers and stuff, those are a militia group. So militia is not this horrible word. You know, it's not. So that's why I figured we go over this. So the colonial origins of the United States militia, The vision of an American militia goes back even before the United States Constitution or the founding of the United States. In most states in colonial America, all able-bodied men were considered to be a part of the militia, through which the individual towns and cities would provide for the common defense. A militia is explicitly mentioned in the Constitution prior to the Bill of Rights, Article 1, Section 8, drafted around the same time as the funding of the Springfield Armory. That's ground zero for American ammunition manufacturing. And it's mentioned 3 times. So to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. To provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as they may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively the appointment of the officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. Article 2, Section 2 designates the President of the United States as Commander-in-Chief of the Army, Navy of the United States, and the militia of several states. Wonder where the Marines and the Air Force. Guess they weren't around whenever. While the 1903 Militia Act is a relatively recent innovation to the world of the American militia, it is worth referencing, even if briefly, as we dive into our long history. The Militia Act of 1903 separates the militia into 2 groups. Organized militia, these are the forces that comprise the National Guard, which are organized militia forces of each state. And it is not synonymous with the National Guard of the United States, which is a reserve military force under joint control. That's like the Army Reserves. That's what they're talking about, because you actually have to go to basic training with everybody else who's active duty or guard, or we call them the nasty girls for National Guard. You actually have to go through regular active duty training for basic, and then your AIT, and then your 1 weekend a month, and then 1 week a year. Unless they changed to 1 week a year, I don't know. I was never in the Guard. An unorganized militia, and this is virtually every other man and woman in the United States. I added a woman because as of today, women do know how to fight. Men are not part of the unorganized militia if they are part of, so you can't belong to both. That's a no-no. And they put a lot of restrictions actually on active duty military. So you can't be part of both. So it's all other able-bodied men between the ages of 17 and 45 are considered part of the militia. This is an important concept to remember, even as we work through the part of militia history predating this act. But I'm sure it would go far beyond 45. I don't know about you, Bobby, but I'm 49, 50, and I could still do my job. I'm not 50 yet.
Yeah, I'm 29, so I could still do my job.
Well, off topic. We said that.
92, you mean?
Some kid said he identifies as 25. The kid was like, I don't know, 35 or 40 or whatever. I say kid. So this guy says, well, I identify as 25, and he was a metrosexual-looking creature anyway. And I said, oh, really? I identify as 25, too. Seeing as now we have more than 72 genders, now we can identify as other ages. See if we can get away with it. So, anyway, in the pre-1903 Militia Act era, the line between the two is not so clearly defined. Many of the militias discussed below are organized and subject to statute, but not organized. in the sense that they have official membership roles, uniforms, or even significant involvement from their respective state and territorial governments. Okay, I got a question about that, Bobby. Like your 3%ers, right? Aren't they? They're considered militia, right?
Yes.
Okay. Don't they all? Every 3% group I've ever seen, everybody has some sort of. Most of them were BDUs, some were ACUs, and whatnot. So, I mean, are they specifically talking about dress right dress? Everybody has the same color, same style, same. Because I've only seen 3 separate 3%er groups, and they do have official membership rules. I'm sorry to say. Everybody knows who belongs to the group. Hold on a second. My dog decided to go in my tool bag and liberate some pliers and chew them. Oh, shit. Little asshole. If it's not tied down, the little heifer's going to eat it.
Typical woman.
Yeah, well. Oh, my God. I'm in excruciating pain. Sorry, guys.
What?
Well, I thought that was Lorna.
I'm on break.
So, where's it at? So much like the later independent or constitutional militia movement, there is a rank structure and a chain of command, but the organization is not necessarily subject to government oversight. Yeah, I'm not. I'll address it later. Other than having to comply with all relevant statutes, in the case of the militias of the Revolutionary War period, this is very fuzzy. The militia is an outgrowth of an English common law institution. So the word itself dates back to 1590. Originally, the word simply meant soldiers in service of the state. By the 17th century, it had taken on connotations of a civilian military force. And it carried additional connotations in terms of a military raised in temporary service to respond to some kind of emergency. We're not a militia. Our group, we're a patriot group. We are not a militia. But, like, we're just talking about some kind of emergency. This is why we want to get more people in every state. So when there is natural disasters, we could go and help. You know, like a hurricane, a flood, tornado damage. Trying to think of anything else that consists of natural causes here. Anything. And that's what we try to do. And some of your other patriot groups are the same way. I do believe most other patriot groups do have some kind of rank structure. It all depends on the group itself. So, in early militias on both sides of the Atlantic served the purpose of both security and defense. These are particularly important in the New World, where attacks from hostile Indian tribes were a constant threat. Indeed, the militias played a key role in the French and Indian Wars, including the primary one taking place currently with the 7-Year War between 1754 and 1763. So during those periods, militias organized by towns were also the pool from the provincial forces were drafted. That's another reason why they have them. And so if an actual war came up, they would take, as I say, drafts from those men first before they would do an actual draft. This was, in fact, a rare occurrence. The provincial forces were one of the best paying wage labor opportunities available to the American colonists. So their ranks were rarely short. You couldn't pull that crap off today if you tried with this generation. While the provincial forces were very professional and disciplined, the militias were not. Indeed, no less an authority than George Washington. At that time, he was an adjunct general of the Virginia militia. Noted that the militia was largely disorganized, and he considered the militia fit for times of peace, but ill-equipped for times of war. Even during peace, the bulk of the colonial military were what are today the Army Rangers, well-paid, professional, highly disciplined, and accomplished. Militias during the American Revolution. The militias, however, played a central role to the American Revolution. The famous Minutemen, figures as iconic as a cowboy in American mythology, are in fact personifications and embodiments of the militia as it existed during the time of the American Revolution. The history of the American militia cannot be discussed without talking about the Minutemen. These were effectively partisans in the war against the British, for which there is a subtle irony. The Minutemen hark back to the earliest tradition of the English countryside militia, ready on a moment's notice. That's pretty much right now any patriot in America. If you're a true patriot, you'll be ready at any minute to stand up for your country. That's pretty much what they did. Indeed, the militia is perhaps the British institution that most shaped the United States and its culture. The British did not represent the entire militia, but the most disciplined and committed of elements of it. They were, as the name implies, ready to go at a minute's notice. They represented approximately a quarter of the entire force and skewed towards the younger and more radical members of the revolutionary movement. The roots of the Minutemen and the militia in general lie in the old British colonial militia. In the Massachusetts Bay Colony, all able-bodied men between 16 and 60 were obligated to serve in the militia. By 1645, possibly earlier, there were men selected specifically for rapid deployment segments of the militia known as training bands, or Minutemen was even used during this period. These were organized on a town-by-town basis, and with some towns, notably Lexington, did not have a rapid response unit. During that period, Minutemen could not be over 30. Officers were elected by rank and file, and as was generally common throughout the colonial militias, fowling pieces were the most common weapon. A fowling piece. What the hell is a fowling piece? Uniforms were non-existent. All right, Lorna, my other research guru, go look it up.
What was it? What am I looking for?
F-O-W-L-I-N-G pieces. It says they were the most common weapon.
F-O-W what?
F-O-W-L-I-N-G.
Fowling piece.
Yeah.
It is loaded with shot were the fowling pieces that appeared in 16th century Europe in the early 17th century. The barrels were made as long as 6 feet in an attempt to gain maximum accuracy.
Oh, that's those long-ass guns that I've seen in a lot of these movies.
Yeah. I just said another spot says a shotgun is a long-barreled firearm designed to shoot a straight-walled cartridge known as a shot shell, which usually discharges numerous small pellet-like spherical sub-projectiles called shot, or sometimes
that's pretty much what 12 gauge is.
Called a slug. Yeah.
Yeah, a 12 gauge has the little pellets. I say pellet, but whatever. Lead balls, and then the slug is just one big one. So uniforms were non-existent, with hunting gear being the most common form of clothing. The French and Indian War provided the irregular forces with training in proto-guerrilla warfare that European troops were not familiar with. See, that's why we did good in the Revolutionary War, because that's when we actually started using some of that. On the eve of the Revolutionary War, the Minutemen became something distinct from the rest of the militia. Not simply its most committed segment. The powder alarm of 1774 underscored the need for a sleeker, more committed, and more rapidly responding segment of the militia. The regular militia simply did not deploy quickly enough to prevent the British from seizing material from the local ammunition stores and armories. The British feared the power of the militias and the Minutemen prior to the Revolution. One of the strategic aims of the Intolerable Act was to significantly decrease the power of the town government. When General Thomas Gage, governor of Massachusetts, under the Intolerable Act, attempted to seat his hand-picked court in Worcester, 2,000, I know it's Worcester, whatever, Mass. 2,000 militiamen prevented him from doing so. In response, Gage set out to confiscate provincial munitions. The militia responded in kind by assembling 4,000 men to the Cambridge Commons. So that's pretty much what they're talking about why we have militias. From the very beginning of the Revolution, the militias played a pivotal role, despite the fact that they were of limited unity or utility. The battles of Lexington and Concord started as a confrontation between local militias and the colonial authorities. On April 19, 1775, 800 British troops marched out of Boston to Concord, and they were unable to locate their target. The colonists' arms and ammunition, which they were to confiscate. It was at 5 a.m. that they encountered 70 militiamen in Concord. They ordered the militiamen to disperse, but the militiamen refused. This was what led to the shot heard around the world. Oh, see, I didn't know what that meant. But to this day, historians were unsure of who fired first. While the militias themselves were primarily used for disrupting supply lines, harassing, skirmishing type attacks, many of the senior officers were those who had cut their teeth. Jesus, this is a typo. Sorry. Teeth. Bushfighting. Oh, okay. Whatever. They did something to their teeth while they were bushfighting during the French and Indian Wars. I think that was supposed to say broke their teeth. On the other hand, the British senior officers had no experience with this kind of fighting and had to learn it on the fly. And I've heard people ask about, why do you train so much? Why do you train? That's why. Because you don't want to get caught with your pants down. Yes, it's repetitive, over and over and over again. But you also learn other people's jobs at the same time. So that's why we train. Well, the military in itself. Never been in a militia, but and that's part of what we've been trying to teach everybody, especially in the survival stuff. Just say the worst catastrophic thing could happen, and an EMP goes off, and we're done. We have no electricity, no water, whatever. Are you going to be able to survive? Can you live outdoors? Can you hunt, fish, and do all of these things? And that's why you have to constantly train. Or practice, I should say practice. So if anything does ever happen, you're not caught with your pants down, and you won't die within the first week. Where'd it go? On the way back to the city after being unable to find the arms and ammunition, the British were stalked and sniped by militiamen. The company was routed, and 900 additional troops were required to save them from the clandestine attacks from the Patriot militias. Throughout the Revolutionary War, the Minutemen model increasingly became the standard for irregular militia fighters. This provided the Continental Army with swelled numbers on short notice. While the militiamen or the Minutemen weren't known as great marksmen, the psychological impact and distraction of their presence certainly helped win the Patriots' cause. Scores of militias were culled from each of the newly independent 13 states, as well as Vermont, which at that time was known as Independent Republic and not one of the United States. That was the name of Vermont. What a name. While the revolutionary fervor was felt most strongly in the militias at the beginning of the war, this waned over time. After all, the Revolutionary War lasted 8 years, a long time to maintain that level of enthusiasm. The militias elected their own officers and often used this to ensure they would not have to serve outside of their home state. Oftentimes, militia members hired replacements, and in extreme cases, exorbitant bribes was required to get the men to perform their militia duties. The currency became inflated over the course of the war, requiring land grants and promises of slaves at the end of the war. The militia was a hugely popular public institution, and at the end of the Revolutionary War, it was seen as a national defense of a free people, as opposed to a standing army. Most experts, however, did not feel that the militia had much in the way of actual military value in the event of a foreign invasion. Still, figures like George Washington were forced to support the militia publicly, while speaking of its limitations more privately. So post-revolutionary period, during Shays' Rebellion, the role of the militia was transformed. This time, the militia was used to defeat a rebellion rather than to fight a dominant power. There is a deep irony in the role exercised by the militia during Shays' Rebellion, which was one of the factors in scraping the Articles of the Confederation and replacing them with the Constitution. During the constitutional debates, figures such as James Madison stated that a militia could be a check on the power of the standing army. However, in the case of Shays' Rebellion, the militia acted as an instrument of centralized power and taxation. Militias in the service of federal power did not end with Shays' Rebellion. President Washington personally led a militia of 13,000 for the specific purpose of putting down the Whiskey Rebellion. Much of the military forces that fought the British during the War of 1812 were militia forces. This is part of why the United States exhibited such a dismal performance on the battlefield. While they were effective in the Battle of Plattsburgh, Baltimore, and New Orleans, this was largely due to the entrenchment of the forces rather than their military abilities in their own right. It was after the American defeat of the war American defeat in the War of 1812 that the militia effectively ceased to be a primary means of defense, supplanted by the regular army. During the period between the War of 1812 and the Civil War, the state militias of the southern states took on a new function, slave patrols. When slaves would run away, militias were raised out of the general population to look for them. This was effectively another form of forced labor. Though militia service did come with pay, in the case of the North Carolina Minutemen, militiamen made 46 cents a day. Break out the money. They can go to McDonald's. Don't know what you're going to get for 46 cents a day. Mormons and the state of Missouri. In Missouri, the militia served another purpose, that of public order. Tensions between the Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, and the rest of the community around the state of Missouri ran high. So much so that there were anti-Mormon vigilante squads roaming the country, looking for Mormons to target. I never knew that Mormons were hated. I know. I know when Mormons and what you call them. What's the other group that come knocking on your door? Who's the other group?
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses. You never answer your door. I didn't realize that about Mormons. I know people don't like them, but I just tell a Jehovah's Witness that I'm Mormon, and I'll tell the Mormon I'm a Jehovah's Witness because they don't want to talk about each other. That's the biggest way to get rid of them. The two state militias came into conflict with one another in what is known as the Battle of the Crooked River. As funny as it might sound to us today, the state of Missouri took several precautions and preparations for a Mormon invasion of the state. Wow, they really didn't like the Mormons. This and other tensions led to the battle, which prompted an executive order expelling all Mormons from the state of Missouri. Can we do that today? Just expel all snowflakes from our state instead?
I don't know if they could or not, but, I mean, state constitutions are supposed to, in some cases, go over. If it's not specifically stated in the Constitution, then the state's Constitution applies. So if it doesn't say in the Constitution of the United States that they can't, then yes, they can, if it allows for it.
I say just get rid of all of them and send them all to California and put a fence around it and tell California they're on their own. So the Mormon community went from Missouri to Illinois, and then before they ultimately ended up in Utah. I don't know how the hell they did that one, but between Illinois to Utah, that's a long drive. For their part, the Mormons organized their own militia, which fought against the United States government in the little-known Utah War. The matter was eventually diffused by negotiations, but not until 150 people died. Might not sound like a lot, but the Utah War lasted a year, and the number of deaths was equal to the full 7 years of Bleeding Kansas. Wow. Let me look up. All right, let's see what Bleeding Kansas is. See, I love doing this because I have no idea. Bleeding Kansas, Bloody Kansas, or the Border War was a series of violent civil confrontations in the Kansas Territory before it became the Albany State. To a lesser extent in the western Missouri between 1854 and 1859. It emerged from a political and ideological debate over the legality of slavery in the proposed state of Kansas. The conflict was characterized by years of electoral fraud. Holy crap. It's gone back since then, huh? Raids, assault, and murders carried out in the Kansas Territory and neighboring Missouri by pro-slavery border ruffians, an anti-slavery free state. According to Kansaspedia of the Kansas Historical Society, about 56 people were killed during the violence, and it's been called a tragic prelude and overture to the American Civil War, which immediately followed it. Wow. I had no idea. See why it's good to do these shows or anything is you find out a little bit of information, you're like, oh, that's where that came from. Yeah. And hopefully you keep it in your head and not forget it. Which was, let's see, John Brown's attack on Harper's Ferry. Another famous battle in the years leading up to the Civil War is John Brown's uprising and attack on Harper's Ferry. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Harper's Ferry, but it's small. You got to cross a bridge to get to it, basically surrounded by water, and it floods a lot. It's in West Virginia, and I used to live in Martinsburg.
I remember learning about that battle in school.
It's a 30-mile radius. That's it. That's how big Harper's Ferry is. Not very big, and it's a lot of trees to it, too. It's like one strip. Mainly, you got like 2 or 3 main strips to the whole town, and that's it. It's all fields is what Harper's Ferry is. But Harper's Ferry had their militia activated. For this part, Brown did not think much of the capabilities of the state of militias in Virginia or Maryland, nor for that matter the regular army forces that might be dispatched against him. This factored into his planning of the uprising that ultimately resulted in nearly 20 deaths and precisely 0 freed slaves. The final capture of John Brown was executed by a detachment of 88 Marines. However, the local militias played a key role in pinning down his forces. Now, not to jump off subject, but I wonder if this John Brown is the same person where they think of, I'll be John Brown. You know what I'm saying? That saying. I know there's a whole shit ton of sayings out there in the world. I wonder if that's who they're talking about. A militia divided. The war between the states. The war between the states found each side ill-prepared for the challenges that it faced. 75,000 militiamen were called up by Abraham Lincoln to retake Fort Sumner. Lincoln considered the strength available to him far below what he actually needed. The problems with the militia system were not limited to the rank and file. The officers had no idea how to command a unit of this size, having never done so. The western states and territories used militias as a form of common defense and security. It's worth noting that in the western states, Americans had to deal with a much larger Indian population who were much more hostile, and particularly in the plains. Later on, during the Civil War, many of these militias were organized into groups of regular Army volunteers. However, in the territories like Colorado and other free states, militias were organized not only to repulse invasions from Confederate forces, but also to prevent an uprising from pro-Confederate forces that might exist in the state. Some of the state militias had their moments of glory during the war between the states. The Colorado Volunteers, for example, turned back a Confederate invasion of New Mexico territory. They later achieved further notoriety for the Colorado War against the Plains Indians, which included the Sand Creek Massacre. The California Column were responsible for expelling the Confederate Army from the southern regions or Arizona and New Mexico, as well as West Texas. They also kept the Mormon population of Utah under observation, as it was widely feared that the Mormons would use the opportunity of the Civil War to rebel and start their own independent nation. Well, I'll be damned. So Mormons aren't exactly...
Yeah, Mormons are not well liked.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're not known for being pushy assholes.
I don't know. They may not have a history of violence, but they are very overwhelming and overtaking, and they use brainwashing. So
no. Well, they did back then. That's what I'm saying. They were more aggressive in that sense back then. They just kind of swapped their roles.
Right. Yeah. Even back then, the Mormons did not have a good reputation.
No, my ex-husband was a Mormon. I was a Mormon for one day. Yeah, and I ended that shit real quick. I ended that crap real quick, like. But anyway, ow, my God, my knee hurts. Okay, let's see, Quantrill's Raiders. The Union was not the only side with militias during the Civil War. Perhaps the most famous of the Confederate militias were Quantrill's Raiders. William Quantrill, referred to as True Grit, as Captain Quantrill, led the group, which included Jesse James, Frank James, Oh, I didn't know that.
I had heard that they had been in the military, Confederate. I didn't believe it, though.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. So the organization had its roots in the pre-Civil War fighting of Bleeding Kansas. The reference to Captain Quantrill during the True Grit film were not without historical basis. Quantrill was given a field commission by the Confederate Army for his work as a guerrilla fighter. This backfired when the Quantrill gang engaged in the Lawrence Massacre. Lawrence was the center of the abolitionist and the unionist organization. As such, it was a common target for Quantrill's men, who numbered about 400. Frustrated by the constant raids, the Union authorities began imprisoning the wives of Quantrill's men with an eye toward deporting them from the area. This is what led to the Lawrence Massacre. Quantrill's men burned down a quarter of the buildings in the town in a coordinated attack, and at least 150 men and boys were killed in the attack. One of the main targets of the massacre, Senator Jim Lane, escaped by fleeing into nearby cornfields. The Confederate leadership could not abide such an attack and withdrew any support they had given to Quantrill and his men. Sounds kind of familiar. Sounds more like the BLM and Antifa, if you ask me. Quantrill's raiders fled into Texan territory, massacring 100 Union soldiers at Baxter Springs along the way. He has still enjoyed some support among the officer corps of the Confederate military, such as Joseph O'Shelby, the undefeated who withdrew his troops into Mexico rather than surrender to the Union Army. In 1864, one of the raiders was killed in a gunfight with a Texas posse and lynched by a sheriff in retaliation. The raiders began returning home in 1864, none of them led by Quantrill. Curiously, one of Quantrill's men was a freeman, John Nolan, who was described by other raiders as a man among men. Quantrill's raiders were a product of the Partisan Ranger Act. This is one of the most important pieces of legislation in the Confederacy. In effect, the law meant that partisan guerrillas would have the same pay in command structure as a Confederate army, but be able to act with broad leeway that was not afforded to the regular army. The law was repealed in 1864 under pressure from, among other officers, Robert E. Lee, while strategy was largely effective. Lee and others were concerned about the effect of having many armed men without much central control. The two militias were allowed to continue after the Repeal Act, McNeil's Rangers and Mosby's Raiders. These groups of guerrilla fighters were distinguished by their discipline and adherence to the acceptance in the rules of warfare. So the militias continued after the Civil War. This is ammo.com's Resistance Library on Gun Rights. Federal Gun Control in America, a historic guide to major federal gun control laws and acts, state gun control in America. Oh, no, never mind. These are different links. I was like, let's make this sentence, damn it. This is a pretty good website. It's an actual history. Let me see. It's on ammo.com. My bad. Where you can actually order ammo if you so well please. But this has, because I'm going to go to the other websites that I have. But on this particular site, it's got federal gun controls in America, state gun control, the Supreme Court and the Second Amendment, the early American militias, which we just went over that one, Negroes with Guns, the untold history of black NRA gun clubs, American gun ownership, 3D printed firearms. Yeah, you go with that. Go with the 3D printed gun. commercial ammo, gun background checks. I mean, oh my God, this has got like everything you want to know about guns. Okay, so the Watchmen of America, that's what they actually used to call them too, was the Watchmen. So the word militia is a Latin abstract noun, meaning military service, not an armed group, with the connotation of plurality. And that is the way the Latin literate founders used it. The collective term meaning army or soldier was vulgus militum. Since for the Romans, military service included law enforcement and disaster response, it might be more meaningfully translated today as defense service, associated with a defense duty, which attaches to individuals as much as groups of them, organized or otherwise. When we are all alone, we are all militia units of one. When together with others in a situation requiring a defensive response, we have the duty to act together in concert to meet the challenge. The two component duties of individuals to defend the community, to act together in concert with others present. When combined with a third component, duty to prepare to one's duties and not just wait until danger is clear and present. It will compromise the militia's duty. Let me see if I read that. Yeah, I read that. I hate repeating shit. I mean, I do sometimes, but so the American militia system has its roots in ancient tradition dating back to the Anglo-Saxon militia that existed centuries before the Norman conquest in 1066. This militia, known as the Fyrd, F-Y-R-D, consisted of every able-bodied male of military age. It was traditionally used for the defense only, and the sovereign could call upon the Fyrd, whatever you would pronounce it, to fight if the men would be able to return to their homes by nightfall. Wow. That's not, to me, that sounds like snowflakes. Oh, if I can go home every night, I'll do it. But, I'm just, I'm kidding, guys. It's pretty sad if you had to go home at night, compared to now. No, you're gone. After 1066, the victorious Normans retained the militia system, and successive English monarchs continued to rely on citizen soldiers for national defense. During the reign of the Tudors, from 1485 to 1603, professional forces began to be used in England, but their main task was to train the local militias, which was much less expensive to use than their own professional counterparts. The main element of training was the muster, which was mandatory gathering of all able-bodied free males from 16 to 60 for the purpose of appraising the participants, their weapons, and their horses. Mustering was an ancient ritual, but during her reign, Queen Elizabeth I systematized the practice, requiring musters 4 times a year, authorizing payment for those who attended. Even with this enhanced level of organization, however, musters were as much social occasions as they were military drills. They looked forward to the muster as an opportunity to eat and drink heavily. That sounds awful familiar. Before engaging in fights and mock battles. God, I could see us now. Like the fish fry you guys had, Bobby? If we all meet together, if we all meet together and then do some training like paintball or whatever, I could see that now.
Oh yeah.
Crap. Army versus Navy.
I want to watch.
You'll definitely lose.
Yeah, whatever.
I'll root for the Army.
Huh?
I said I want to watch. I'll root for the Army.
Yeah, see, me and Hinkle are Army, And the other ones are friggin' Navy, but you know what they say about them Navy guys. No, I really can't count Bobby in that because she was a Navy SEAL. No, because you were a Navy SEAL, so can't include you in that other. You're in a whole league of your own. So when
in the bunkmate section.
Yeah. When the English began to establish colonies in North America in the 17th century, the colonial governments continued to require all able-bodied free men to possess firearms and to participate in the colonial militias. Each colony formed its own militia unit, appointing officers, providing training, and building its own fortifications. The function of each colonial militia was principally to defend the settlers' homes and villages against Indian raids. And they were largely successful in doing that. Colonial militias were much less effective when used for offensive purposes on extended campaigns far from the militia members' homes. George Washington unfortunately discovered this when, as a colonial in the Virginia militia, he had great difficulty recruiting enough men to fight the French and Indian War, which lasted from 1754 to 1763. Few men were willing to report for duty. Of those who did, few were well armed. Many were quickly deserted the troops and returned home. Some militia officers instituted drafts to recruit more men. But even then, many of the draftees simply paid less than qualified men to report in their places. The British were finally able to win the war when Prime Minister William Pitt made changes in recruiting policies and the military bureaucracy, which made serving in the militia more palatable for the American colonists. You know, if we were to start this shit right now, there would not be a problem with people who actually wanted to do this. If it came to, do you think it would, or would you think they have a problem having people come up and do it? Anyone? Comment? I know that
I was reading something.
Huh?
I was reading something. I didn't really hear the question.
Oh, do you guys think that if it came down to having to have this type of militia, not them yahoos who friggin' do stupid shit now, not like those idiots, but actually like this, who had to protect their towns, their areas and shit, and they couldn't find enough men to actually do that, do you think that there would be a problem today with getting able-bodied people, not men and women? Because there are some.
I don't know. I think it depends on the town. I'm thinking more and more today you might actually not have a problem getting people wanting to protect their towns because today a lot of people are invested in their communities generationally. You know what I mean? So there's that aspect. They've put a lot of effort. Even, and I'm not singling out wealthy people or, only business owners. There even, people who rent or just people who are invested in the community in some way.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I think you would. You might even get some of the progressives and liberals that would be willing to do it. Because that's the problem.
Liberal.
A true liberal, not the shit they have today. I mean, the liberals that I grew up with, they still do have some. There are still some true liberals out there. My family is. Even if they did vote for Biden. My
mom voted for Biden. Honest to God, my mom's a conservative, but here's the thing. She voted for Biden because she believed all the bullshit about Trump. And I said, you have a blind hatred for a man that you don't even know, and you just listen to the media. Yeah.
Yep. Same thing here.
And the thing she told me, and see, history keeps repeating itself. And I told her, I said, look, I did not vote for a best friend. I did not vote for a pastor. I did not vote for, he is a pompous ass. Don't get me wrong. Trump is a pompous ass. He needs to learn how to shut up sometimes. He really does. Yeah. But he did his job.
Yes,
and
the majority of us that voted for him, don't really care for his personality. You know, he is arrogant. But he's a freaking businessman, and he's a damn good one. And compared to the politicians, he's honest. Compared to the rest of them, I'd call him honest. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he sure as hell is.
I know what you're saying, yeah. But here's the thing. He has stood up to Kim Jong-un.
Yes, he made friends with him.
Xi Jinping. And Putin. He has stood up, and that's what you need. And so,
the Abraham Accords, which they refuse to acknowledge. But your question, but back to your question, yes, I do believe that. See, that's the problem right now that we're having today, is that the government is deliberately pitting us against each other. But if we were to have a common cause, a common enemy, whatever word you want to use, I believe that, yes, we would come together, even those of us that don't necessarily agree, to defend our community.
No, we never will, and you know why? Because the left has given out so much free shit that nobody wants to go to work. Everybody.
No. But they would just, I think that a few of them, not all of them, but I do think that there are a few out there that would defend their specific community. That's what you were asking. A militia to protect their community. I thought that's what your question was.
Yeah. No, that was. It all depends on also, like you were saying, what area you're in. You're not going to have this issue in red states. In red states, you will have.
I'm not going to have an issue here in Lancaster, which is a blue state, and there are a couple of other areas in Pennsylvania that you're not going to have an issue. But but over
I live in a red state, but a blue city. But we have a shit ton of liberals in this city.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I'd rather be in a red city.
I know, me too. So after Great Britain defeated France in the French and Indian War, it was left with a greatly enlarged North American empire to manage and finance. Large numbers of British troops were stationed in America, and the colonists were expected to quarter them and pay various taxes and fees, including the well-known stamp tax, to finance the troops. These additional taxes were one of the principal grievances that motivated the American colonists to prepare for a revolution and to form the select militia units that became known as the Minutemen. This name reflected the fact. Okay, never mind. I just read that. Let's see. I don't want to. Okay. During the Revolutionary War, American military forces consisted of a combination of state militias, specially trained militia units such as the Minutemen, the Continental Army, and a small professional force created by Congress. The militia was much more effective than it had been during the French and Indian War because its members were fighting for a cause in which they fervently believed. See, that's the other thing. If you get people, if it comes down to fighting to defend our Constitution and to keep our gun rights, you will get more people who actually believed in it will fight to their last dying breath to make sure that this stays a free country. That's the difference.
Agreed.
And that's why people piss and moan when we go to other countries and it's not our war and blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. In the military, you go where you're told. Well, does it matter? You do your job. You don't slack off because you will get people killed. So, I mean, there is a big difference. In addition, the militia system had been reorganized and strengthened. There were more training days. The punishment was more severe for missing musters, and fewer men were exempted from military duty. Even so, militia forces were much less reliable than the professional army, and commanders found it difficult to plan their moves, never knowing exactly how many men would show up and how long they might stay. Ultimately, however, the militias played a critical role in helping the colonists to defeat the British, supplying enough men to keep the Continental Army going and providing on very short notice large numbers of armed men for brief periods of emergency service. See, that's the difference. The militia, you're not drafted. Unlike the military where you have a contract, you cannot say no. You will be AWOL. Having a militia is not a bad idea. Like you said, they are hard to organize unless they're really willing to. Today's militias, unfortunately, have a bad reputation, even though they haven't really done anything to earn it. See, the thing is, a lot of these militias now that we have, they're just men with guns, pretty much. And they do stupid shit, like the NFAC. The one guy shot 3 of his own people, okay? 3. They are not holding their weapons right. He discharged a firearm while in a formation. That's the difference. They're I don't want to say hack, but a lot of these militias, all they're there for is to harass people and intimidate. Unfortunately, that's where, and that's why people are scared of militia groups, because you go from one extreme to the other, like the Proud Boys, and who's the other group? Third Degree or something like that. What is it? 3%. 3% Proud Boys, and I forget who the other one is. The Proud Boys, man, they've gone off the deep end, and there's another group that's just like the Proud Boys, and for the life of me, I cannot think of who they are. It's the Bugle Boys, the Bugle something, or the Boogaloo Boys. The Boogaloo, yeah, the Boogaloo, but I thought they were left. I thought they were on the left side. No, they're straight up racist. Straight up. The Boogaloo Boys, straight up racist. They hate everyone except white people. They're a true white supremacist group. But they don't put up with shit, though. So that's the difference. Actually, it's not a difference, but that's the reason why people get all freaked out about when you hear militia groups. So when the state delegates met in 1787 to create the Constitution for the United States of America, the principal division was between those delegates who favored a strong central government and those who preferred to leave more power to the state. The former wanted a strong standing military, and the latter argued for a greater reliance on the state militias. The issue of a standing military was particularly controversial because many Americans were suspicious of the very concept of a standing army. With the tyranny they had experienced under Great Britain. Nevertheless, because of the delegates were more concerned about invasion than domestic tyranny, Congress was given the power to create a standing army if it so chose. Advocates of state power did achieve a partial victory. However, in that authority over the state with militias was divided between the federal government and state governments. Congress was given the authority to organize, arm, and discipline the militia, but states were given the power to appoint officers and provide training. Congress, not the president, was given the power to summon state militias into federal service for 3 specific tasks: to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. And that January 6th bullshit was the reason why the National Guard was called. But it was not an insurrection. Trust me, there was not one armed person there. So therefore, it was a riot, not an insurrection. There's a big difference.
And you know what's really funny is the only weapons in D.C. that day were the 2 pipe bombs, and they still have no idea who left them, despite having the video footage of the people. But yet they've managed to arrest a whole bunch of old people and patriots for walking through an open door.
That's just it. And honestly, they need to show the video footage of the D.C. police letting everybody in, moving the fences. I'm sorry, there you go. That just nullifies the whole word insurrection. And nobody had a gun.
There is. They don't just have that footage. They also have footage of the police officers or security guards standing behind that guy telling everybody, okay, they're going to let us go through, and the guy's behind him nodding. You just got to stay quiet, stay here. Yeah, and what about they were throwing flash grenades at kids and nobody that weren't anywhere near the Capitol building. So they have footage of that. Why can't we see the security footage? Why are they only showing footage from phone cameras, or biased news media? Why aren't they showing the actual Capitol security cameras?
If they did, that would show the truth, and they can't have that right now. That's why.
We know that, but
that's just it. That's the difference between honest to God when they say, oh, I'm woke. No, you're not. You're still asleep. To me, woke means you know the bullshit's all a lie. You know the pandemic is all fake. Yes, the virus is real. Don't get me wrong. Yes. But everything surrounding it is bullshit.
Right. It's
that
now.
is being woke.
Said if the death numbers didn't go up over 2% or something like that, it's just going to be a bad flu season. And the numbers were actually lower than, those emails are so much proof, but people are still denying. They still don't see it because mainstream media is still playing it down. They show him and Joe Biden going to a vaccine center and him answering questions from kids.
Yeah, but fear sells. That's the whole thing. Fear sells. And I swear to God, I really hope all the shit that's going on in D.C. right now really means what we've been thinking this whole time. We shall see.
Right.
Today's the 7th. They got 7 more days, and they said they'll be finished with the audit.
Yeah, sooner than expected.
Well, because they had to take that, 2 weeks because of the graduation?
Right.
In Arizona. So,
but they picked up the pace when they came back.
Oh, yeah. So, needless to say, I think, honestly, oh, my God. Oh, my knee.
And look at all the states that are going there to see because they want to do it too, and not just swing states. There are some regular states too, and look what they found in New Hampshire. So,
that was another one I saw. But shit. I'm a brain fart. That's all for the militias. Actually, it's quite a bit. So people need to understand why the militias were originally started and why we have them.
Right.
What we have now.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that thing you shared, though, about the military coming after. Or what you guys just said about D.C. I mean, what the hell?
That's what
and
Biden. Remember?
Yeah, go ahead.
Biden was making people take their oath again to him. There was a whole unit of medics they were making redo their oath, and it was to Biden, not the Constitution. And I am sorry. You're a disgrace. I was a medic. And that is absolutely, you know what? Anybody who saw that video of those medics doing their oath to Biden, man, they need a training accident.
Wait a minute. You're saying I didn't see the video. They actually said that they're swearing an oath to President Biden? Hello? Did I lose you?
Yeah, I think she got cut off.
Shoot.
I did.
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
I got cut off.
That oath.
I was
Okay. So Kim, are you saying that when they spoke the words, about swearing to the Constitution, it was not to the Constitution, it was to Biden, his name?
Because we swear, whatever it says, where it's supposed to say to defend the Constitution, they had to say to the President of the United States. Fuck you.
No way.
Sorry, but
so what about all the military people that didn't do that? And what about all the military people that won't back Biden? What are they going to do with them?
They're going to kick him out of the Army. That's his goal, is to kick him out. I'm sorry.
Okay, he's gonna. Doesn't he realize he's going to lose the majority of his military?
He don't care.
And doesn't he realize then that if he does try to send his pussies after the real soldiers, they're going to lose? No. And that other foreign enemies are going to come after us?
Oh, I will join Russia in a heartbeat to mow down every damn leftist liberal nut job who has tried to destroy this country. I will become Russian or Chinese long enough to get rid of them all and then say, okay, you can leave now. And go back to me. I would.
But the reason America has never been invaded is because so many American citizens have guns and will use them against the enemy.
Okay.
At this point, can we say that anymore?
Well, sure. Because honestly, let me look this up real quick. I want to say, hold on one second.
I mean, no, I know that we have enough veterans and hunters and guns, but my concern is that we also are going to have American citizens fighting with the enemy.
Hold on. This is active duty Army only. Active duty, 471,990. The Army National Guard is 336,000. The Navy active duty is 325, and the Air Force active is 321,000. Okay, so you go. Listen here. Shut up. I don't want to take no damn quiz. There is, as of in 2019, there's 1.3 million, and that's Guard, Reserves, and active duty. Okay, that's all the branches together. I'm trying to see. And deployed, we have about 200,000, almost 200,000. But I'm sorry, but that's still not enough. So you take 1.3 million, okay? Now, of those 1.3 million, how many of those do you actually think is going to turn against the American people?
Not even 1/3. Maybe
not
1/4?
Even 20%.
Oh, I was going to say 25%, but 20% sounds closer to it.
Yeah.
And most of them are probably young and inexperienced or old and idiots.
But here's the thing. The young people under, let's go with under 28, right? They're millennials and Gen Z. But here's the thing.
Right.
You have two types of millennials and two types of Gen Z. The ones who get triggered by Dr. Seuss are not going to join the Army. The ones confused about what bathroom to use is not going to join the military. So that group under 30, let's just say under 30, you can count on them to not turn on Americans. Because they're just not going to. because you're not going to see these pampered little friggin' Fortnite players join the military. I've already got into a conversation with a 21-year-old. And the way I look at it is leave. Leave the damn country. If you people don't like it, then leave. I'm sure that we can get together enough Americans to buy every single person who hates this country a plane ticket to go to another country and stay there.
Yeah,
for 6 damn months.
Venezuela, Pakistan.
Afghanistan.
We can send the rainbow-colored ones to Pakistan.
Send them all. Send them to Afghanistan. Send them to Turkey.
Yeah.
Send them to Russia. See how they like it, and they'll change your tune pretty damn quick. But as far as malicious, I don't know what, like we said, I don't know what's going on with the government right now. But here's the thing: we're in a constitutional crisis. Open borders. They got in 4 million illegals, sending them all over the United States, and you have. I don't know how many states have said, no, we're not taking any in. They started sending them to Tennessee.
They sneaked them in.
Yeah. But just say, for argument's sake, I'm going to go with this conspiracy. They do kick Biden out of the White House and Trump goes back in because of the election fraud, right? Because of a constitutional crisis. They actually do have the right to kick Biden out of the White House. And that's treason because of the fraud. So America goes into a civil war. Straight up. But it's not going to be North versus South, black versus white. No, it's going to be left versus conservatives. That's what it will be.
Well, I'll be honest. You know what? I'd rather see that war than than the other possibility, because that one won't last as long and we'll recover from more quickly.
I don't think Russia. Now, China does have. Apparently, I found more sites that are sources that said there's 1 million Chinese troops in Canada right now.
Yes,
and that
they've been there for a while.
No, it was only like 50,000, and it's been building, and I guess there's about 1 million troops, Chinese troops in Canada. You know, and that could be the reason why you don't see any Canadians coming over into the U.S. Because the Chinese
that might be why they're keeping them quiet. That might be why they keep shutting them down and arresting them.
Yeah, you're not allowed to leave your home in Canada. They are under martial law right now, their own form of martial law right now. You are not allowed to leave your home. And Trudeau has said because of COVID, there's no elections. He was going to stay there, whatever he is, president, prime minister, friggin' traitor, I don't know. He's going to stay in office, and that's what he did. But here's the thing. In Canada, I don't know, they allowed to have guns in Canada, Bobby? Do you know?
Yes, they're allowed to have certain guns. I have a friend in Canada that was telling me they're not as liberal. They're not as like we are here, but they can have some. I forget how it works.
Hunting rifles, like hunting rifles and shit like that. Yeah, but like, oh, okay. But they don't have as many people. That's the difference. You know, there's not as many people in Canada as there are in the United States. I don't know. I don't know exactly where America's heading, and I honestly, if they don't do a thing where Trump comes back, America's done. In the next 4 years, there will not be an America, and I hate to say it.
I don't think they'll make it to the end of this year.
No. Every empire runs about 250 to 500 years, depending on how good they are. Look at the Roman Empire and all of the other ones. Gone. And America is heading down the same path. And who made the comment, I can't remember who it was, about what starts it all? Was about gender and all of this other bullshit stuff. Someone had told me something about that's how it starts. And that's where America's at right now. That's the state.
Well, I know I
we're
saw
in.
something when they were talking about Germany with Hitler. You know, they had a very prominent homosexual organization, which I didn't know, and that was one of the first things he went after. The men wearing dresses and stuff. I mean, we're becoming a society of degenerates. You know, pedophiles and degenerates. I don't know what other word to use.
See, here's the thing. You ask anybody in the LGBT, the alphabet soup group, okay, if they believe pedophiles is a sexual orientation. All right. What do you think the plus is? They're allowing pedophiles into that group. Now, that's why I have a lot of friends who are gay, and they do not belong to the group because of that. And because, believe it or not, they're like, we're gay. We get it. Who cares? You know, you're straight. Who cares? You are who you are. Don't push your shit on our children. And a lot of them, it's gotten to that point where, and I've talked to somebody like, I'm appalled. No, we don't. I said, I think you need to read your group because that's what you allow. And America has become nothing but degenerates. You're right. What is it? Okay, hold on one second. You guys can talk amongst yourselves.
But we like listening to you.
Too bad. Sometimes I feel like, God, you guys can talk anytime you want.
I'm trying. You know, I really wish that I wasn't so. I don't want not antisocial, but so private in some respects.
Introvert.
As much of an extrovert as I am and everything, it really is difficult for me to go out. I don't know of any groups in my area that stand for America. I mean, I know a few individuals that probably do, but, I don't know. I'm hoping there are people around that are getting together and discussing what's going on. But, it's kind of hard these days. And you have to be careful who you talk to because you don't know. You can't tell by how somebody looks on what they think.
Yeah. Well, my thing is I can't be around more than 20 people. I'm done. Unless we're friends. If I know them, you know what I'm saying? If it's like a barbecue, well, that's different. That's different. But to go in public now, even to the Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, I break out into a cold sweat. I get heart palpitations, and I can't breathe. So I'm done with, and it has nothing to do with COVID.
Oh no, I don't have that issue. I have that thing in my head that says "Don't hit the idiot."
I think that's what it
people.
is. No, that's what I think it is. I think that's what it has to do with, because I'll walk around and I get the dirty looks because I don't wear a mask, and the people that do wear a mask, they're like, oh my God, she's a foul, wretched creature. Go ahead and say something. And so I'm afraid that if someone does say something, they might get a throat punch. And I don't know if that's has anything to do with it, but I can't stand to be out. What I'm looking for is why, blah, 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 blah. Well, Bobby, I know we could talk about for next Monday's show.
Lorna again?
Yeah, Lorna. The fall of empires. There's so much shit on this, on how on the empires that fell, and shit like that. I was trying to find out what is declining moral values. That's what it is. That's the start of the fall of an empire. It's from the collapse of Rome. That's how it started. The declining moral values, and political civility at home, an overconfident and overextended military in foreign lands, and fiscal irresponsibility by the central government. America is freaking broke.
I was about to say, that sounds like us.
Yeah, but that's not just the Roman Empire. That's any empire that falls. That is what starts it. And America has been on a downfall, a whirlwind downfall of moral values, in the last year and a half, if that?
At least, yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's like, people need to freaking wake up and just open your eyes and look for yourself. Don't watch the media. And I hate to say, not even Newsmax, because Newsmax was bought out by Bill Gates. So we're fucked. Now we have no real news. But don't watch the news. And they need to get rid of fact checkers. And just when you look stuff up, don't use Google. Go to DuckDuckGo and your .gov. I know I say .gov, but there's more peer-reviewed shit and everything else, and that's the only way to find out what's really going on. And people we just need to get rid of the media when it comes to politics. Anything else, the news should cover. You know what I'm saying? Weather, sports, whatever happens to be going on in your city. But I think news should be banned from politics, except Election Day. And that's it.
Well, no, you still got that freedom of speech issue, and I know it nails us conservatives every time, but, you gotta, I think, though, that and all news media, anytime they post something, they put something out there, they report on something, they must back it up with facts. I do not think that a station, an organization or whatever, can call themselves news media unless they can back up what they're putting out there with facts. Otherwise, they're not news. They're what are commentary shows called? Talk shows or whatever.
That's all they are.
Yeah.
But we don't have freedom of speech. That's gone.
Yeah, I don't have an issue. I do not have an issue with commentators presenting the facts, the news, and offering their opinion. Because a lot of the commentators I watch, they tell you point blank, I'm biased in this way. I don't have an issue with that because they're also presenting the facts. What I have an issue with is people like CNN, MSNBC, saying that what they're saying is fact and that Fox and Newsmax need to be deplatformed because they're spreading lies. That's where I have an issue. And I remember when CNN first started, they were the bomb. CNN was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yes, especially during the Gulf War. That's all I watched was CNN. But
Geraldo Rivera, all of them were awesome
and now look
reporters.
At Geraldo's a disgrace. Now
he is. He wasn't then. Now he is. I said back then.
Yeah. I used to watch the 5, right?
Yeah.
But Juan Williams left Fox News. The funny thing about the 5 is with Greg Gutfield, they'll tell you shit.
Oh, I love Greg Gutfield.
And
yeah, I like him.
Yeah, that's the difference. But I'm done with, it's like, oh, my God, are you tired of talking out the side of your face? And but did you hear that they're attacking Tucker Carlson?
Yes, the military. Are they still doing it? I thought they had stopped.
Yep.
I know he's now, I think, only on Fox Nation. I don't think he's on the Fox News channel anymore. I mean, I could be wrong because I don't watch. That's all I watch is Fox Nation.
Oh no, they're. Let's see. Oh, and Politico was saying Tucker Carlson has lost his mind.
Yeah,
Why? Because
well,
he's standing up to Dr. Fauci? No.
Yeah, all the shit that's coming out. I still can't believe that people are still insisting on getting the vaccine, still wearing masks. Oh, I wear it because I just feel better.
I don't.
That's it.
I refuse.
Yeah, I saw a street interview. This dude was going around asking people why they're still wearing a mask, and I just feel better about it. You know, it's still dangerous out there, and I don't want to pass it on. You know, I'm thinking to myself, brainwash.
Okay. Have you seen the video about people they're mocking people who wear a mask still?
Yep.
Oh my God. Oh, and that Tom McDonald song, Snowflakes?
I can't wait to get that. I can't wait till he comes out with the new album.
Go on YouTube. Go on YouTube.
Yes, I know. I listened to it, but I want it.
Oh,
I want it.
He said it's had over 3 million views.
Yep.
To watch that one video. Shit. I was talking about something else and I forgot what I was going to do.
He's awesome. I love his music. I ordered 4 of his albums, and I'm hoping, and then I'll get them. And then when he comes out with a new one, I'll get it too. He's good.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you haven't listened to that song Snowflakes, you need to watch it.
Oh yeah, it's great. I like No Good Bastard. Is that what it is? No Good Bastard? The one? Yeah, he's got some really good ones. And the one he wrote to the song he did to Eminem.
White Boy?
No. The one before Snowflakes. The song that he wrote a letter to Eminem because he used his song.
Oh.
I forget what it's called, but at any rate, it's good. He's a good artist. I mean, he's a great rapper, and I mean, I listened to some of his original stuff from like 5 years ago. It's nasty. I wouldn't listen to that garbage. But this stuff that he has out there now is awesome.
Oh yeah. Chat. I hate when I have a brain fart and forget what the hell I was going to look up.
No, it's called senility.
No. 11 TBIs is what it's called. Unfortunately. Yeah. No, I was going to look something up and we were talking about it. I'm going to I totally forgot what I was going to look up. Ew.
Bobby, what was she going to look up?
Bobby don't know shit either. Did I tell you guys? I've heard we're just gonna keep adding to a list of stupidity. So, aside from the fact that the word mom is offensive, and Father's Day.
How is mom offensive?
Huh?
How is mom offensive?
You didn't hear that about Mother's Day?
No.
Birthing person? Yes. They're not called. They don't want to be called Mother's Day. It's to be called birthing person. Okay, whatever.
They can kiss my ass. It's Mother's Day. And Father's Day.
No, feminists are trying to get rid of Father's Day because they say it leads to white supremacy. So, yes, so 3-month-old babies are racist. Math is racist. English is racist. And now, the outdoors is freaking racist now.
Wait. How are the outdoors racist?
Got me. But these little crotch goblins have said the outdoors is racist.
How? Oh, my God.
You know what? I don't know, and I don't care. I just want to throat punch every single idiot that I see. I
don't
told you,
understand.
hold on.
Seriously?
Hold on. Yep. I'm still trying to figure out how a 3-month-old baby is racist. Everything is racist. The definitive list. Let's go. We don't have 15 minutes left, so let's go. I had to because, whatever. So, let's see. Everything is racist. In case you haven't heard, save Jerseyans, everything is now racist. In fact, it always was. You didn't just know until the woke crowd came along to explain and condescend. Okay, let's see. Oh, God, I could just imagine. I'm waiting for mayonnaise to be considered racist. Oh, and Google has error not found.
What?
Google will not let me open the thing.
What is the thing?
Christmas carols are racist. There are some sandwiches and common expressions. Oh, here it is. So these are These are not racist. Classical music, facial recognition technology. Now, don't get me wrong. Facial recognition should not be done unless it's on your phone to keep someone from being able to hack your phone. That, yes,
right.
They should be able to do. Jingle bells.
Well, I mean, I don't mind having like you said, like my computer recognizes my eye or my face or whatever in order to let me use it. I don't have an issue with biometrics. What I have an issue with is that they want to use biometrics to find me, but then again, they use it for criminals too.
Okay, but this is a long list, so I'm going to skip over some of the stupid ones. Okay, the White House is racist. Peanut butter and jelly. Washington and Jefferson Memorial. The expression
explain peanut butter and jelly.
Huh?
Explain peanut butter and jelly.
I don't have time to explain all of these. I'm going to send you the link on Telegram, okay?
Okay.
You can, and it has why. So these expressions, sold down the river, is racist. Long time no see. The Declaration of Independence. The Christmas song. Star Wars, Darth Vader is racist. Peanut galleries. Indian sports mascots. Voter ID laws. God Bless America. The national anthem. Cops. Ketchup is racist. The legal system is Dumbo. The English language. Republicans. God forbid.
Maybe we should have a list of stuff that's not racist instead. Maybe it'll be shorter.
The KKK, the BLM, and Antifa. Racist. Boom. There you go. That's racist. Get this. Oh, no. Somebody. Chopsticks are racist. The Gadsden flag. And I'm sorry, you're a dumbass if you think the Gadsden flag is racist. You can't even put it in the same category as the Confederate flag. Animal House. Opposition to illegal immigration. Zoning laws. All white men. Bobby, you're a damn racist. Sorry, you're on the list. Huckleberry Finn. Standardized testing. Gucci. Prada. Buildings named after white men. Conservatives. Dress codes. Self-driving cars. The United States of America. Kellogg's Corn Pops. Math. Aunt Jemima products. Fast food is racist. Peter Pan. The Jungle Book. Dr. Seuss books. Wow. Tipping. The expression no can do. The food pyramid is racist. And last but not least, dogs are racist.
Dog. D-O-G. Dog.
Yeah.
Bark, bark.
Yep. And most doctors. And they have a to be determined to do 62 to 65. Are you, man, you've got to, oh my God, just shoot me now. I'm done. Stop the bus. I want off. I want off now.
I don't even know what to say to all of that stuff. How the hell do they have that fit? It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. No. And they don't even have 3-month-old babies on there. Mom, dad, brother, sister, grandmother, all of those names are racist now. I mean, they don't even have all that on there. They got food is racist. You know, and it's like, seriously, you've got to have, I have no life, okay? And I don't even have time to come up with this stupid shit. White milk is going to be considered racist soon. White cheddar, white American cheese, black-eyed
chocolate
cheese.
milk. I just thought of something. I can't drink chocolate milk anymore because it's brown. I mean, maybe I'm being racist by liking chocolate milk.
No. White milk is going to be called racist. Some woman.
That's what I want. Okay, so we can only drink chocolate milk then.
Yeah. Some girl drowned, okay? Drowned. And an off-duty EMT saved her, did CPR, saved this dumb chick, and she is suing him for raping her. Because she did not ask for permission to be saved or to be given CPR. That's how stupid feminism is. You know, I don't even think it's feminism. I really don't. That's just this girl's like in her early 20s. Our country's doomed. Our world. You know, I don't even think any other countries have issues with their children like we do today. I really don't. Oh, I know what I was going to look up. Shit. It was an actual video. Some Gen Z or millennial, I don't know what the hell he was, said the reason why they are the way they are is, get this, because Gen X parents are awful because we wouldn't wussify them. That's why.
Wait, because you wouldn't what them?
Wussify them. Placate to their wouldn't pander to their needs. No, unfortunately, too many pandered to their needs. See, here's what I think the problem. I think boomers had kids late in life, and they're the cause of why we have the millennials we have.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody's got to figure that out. Just, man.
Yeah.
Do you honestly think? What do you think? Have you guys seen the movie Blazing Saddles?
Yeah. Yes. In fact, I bought the DVD before they cancel it.
Bobby, have you seen Blazing Saddles? I think Bobby's.
Bobby.
Yes. Yes.
You didn't say yes. You were just saying. Okay. There's that one scene where he just used the N-word every other word, right? He's black, whatever. But I'm waiting for that movie to be banned.
Yes, that's why I bought it, because I know it's going to get banned.
The Jeffersons, Archie Bunker. What's the other one with?
What's Happening or Good Times with J.J. Walker? Dynamite.
Yeah.
That's Good Times.
To become racist. I say people need to get over this themselves. They would die.
What about movies like the one with Mark Hamilton and John Amos practically naked? Or what was in Beastmaster? That definitely would. Yeah, I have that one's another one that would probably get if they get canceled.
Oh, Indian giver. That is a phrase that is now racist.
Indian giver. That's not actually an insult to Indians. I thought that was an insult to the white people that kept giving stuff to Indians and then taking it back.
The word ghetto is racist. There's another one.
We got 3 minutes.
Ghetto doesn't relate to black people. That originally was with the Jewish people in oh my gosh.
I know. Bobby, we got, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever?
Yeah, 3 minutes and like 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
Another great topic and discussion. Thank you, ladies. And you too, Lorna.
I know.
She fell asleep.
No, I did not. I finally got into the tub.
About time. I thought I smelled something funny.
But
now my water's
celebration time. My host is now officially done.
About time.
I know.
But
only took almost 2 years.
Thank you all for being here. Kim, again, thank you for another great show.
Oh, no problem.
God bless America. God bless our troops, our first responders, our veterans, our children, and God bless the Defender 7. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.